I think the hook has been set by saying the Machete story, right? Yeah, for sure.
And flamethrowers, I'm told.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could speak on the flamethrowers. I'm not sure I have the firsthand memory around that one, but I'll talk about the Machete at the very least.
Okay.
But I think they both kind of fit into working at a startup and the progression of a startup, right? I think it's why a lot of people are attracted to the very early stage, of a company. There's a lot of freedom. There's a lot of creativity. I guess I'll just say there's not always a lot of rules. They are flat organizations, and you hire people that are attracted to the mission. They understand that once everybody's rowing in the right direction, everybody just gets to work. And then, as we know about the whole startup culture, you work really, really hard, but you can play hard, too. Sometimes you got to blow off steam. And there's a certain stage within a startup where that's pervasive. That's the pervasive culture. I'm drawn to that as well, right? I think that's important to say. I really, really am. I've always said that I have an appetite for a certain amount of chaos. But what I have staked my career on is that I will take that amount of chaos and I want to turn it into some kind of order. Right?
Sure.
And so every startup has to go through a maturation, process. I myself came into IAM. I had known Tom through a couple other interactions and got to know him a lot better. And they were 12 engineers and one junior sales guy when I first met them. And so he really wanted to start developing a more formalized sales and marketing function. And that had been traditionally my background. So I came in to build, all of that out. And I jumped right into the whole startup culture as well, right? So, work our butts off, but, be able to blow off that steam, have a lot of fun. It was a great group. Everybody there are now, lifelong friends, from that early stage. But in creating some order, right? There was a point where we were raising money and investors were very interested in what we were doing. First of a kind product, amazing engineering team, but then they want to start seeing some of the maturing parts, right? They want to know about the business strategy and the business functions, and they were also looking for a CEO. And I really, I owe a lot to Tom, because he came to me and he saw something where I would be able to help. And it was my first opportunity to have an executive leading role in a company like that. And so Tom and Vlad came to me and asked me to be CEO of the company, to represent them in a lot of these investor conversations, to help think strategically about where we were taking the business, to focus it. Going back to our earlier conversation, we had several different use cases across different market areas that really led to kind of different business plans. And so we were still doing some discovery in a way at that time. And so we had to go through some exercises to figure out what business so that we wanted to be in. So all of that was kind of happening at the same time. I'm giving you that as the backdrop because, there's these crazy times in a startup, but then, then you start maturing. And, you have to start having more responsibility, right? Because the risks get greater. As you take on more money, you answer to, more stakeholders and investors. We were going out for a major fundraising round at the time, so you have to start growing up a little bit. And I do have that ability to be childish at times, but also I really do seek for us to get to that mature part.
They're both important in their own way.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So now fast forward to the Machete story, and I was CEO, and I was, and so where I am was located. It sat between a set of train tracks on a very slim piece of land, and then we were sitting right along the bank of Western Pennsylvania's Ohio River, right? And in that area were a lot of trees and a lot of bush. And, people during the summer, we went out there and would eat our lunches, or just to have views of the river. It was a nice thing to have. So it would become overgrown. My office was looking in that direction, and I had a window that looked out to that way. Well, one day I was sitting in my office, and I look out the window, and I see, well, I guess it was Chris Grill. And now, Chris, if I'm wrong about that, I apologize, and I'm happy to be corrected.
I'm now picturing Chris Grill in this story, by the way.
Now, I thought it was some others. I don't remember Yash. I didn't know if Yash was there by that time, but perhaps he was. I think maybe he might have heard about the story later.
Could be.
And enjoyed it. But I'll let the others substantiate that part of it. I saw 3 individuals. And I saw
one of them was Chris.
And I saw one of them with a machete just whacking away at the bush, whacking. And the others are just sitting there grinning ear to ear, having fun. And then they hand it to the other guy, and he takes some whacks and everything else. From my perspective, I felt like that they were so free in doing this and just standing around in kind of a haphazard way. I saw impending disaster. I saw somebody losing a limb, right? And by the way, I have many other stories that predated this moment where we were trying to grow and mature and everything else. And I saw similar things, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, I don't know why they're doing that, but you know what? It's not my place to say anything. This was my place to say something. I had a responsibility. And my insurer at the time would have cared that I had some responsibility. So my fatherly instincts kicked in, and I went out, walked across the parking lot, and it's really strange because if you know me, I mean, I could be fairly direct, and there certainly is a part of me that's been like, hey, guys, what the fuck are you doing? Don't do that. Give that to me. Never do that again, right? But I just had this calm, and I walked up to him. I'm like, oh, hey, let me see the machete. And I'm thinking that they're thinking that, he's like, oh, Joel wants to take a couple whacks. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they handed the machete, and I just turned around and walked away. And the funny thing is that they understood perfectly what I meant by that action, right? Like, oh, yeah, we shouldn't be doing this.